We want to thank you for today. We thank you for this opportunity to meet both virtually and physically on this evening. May your love and peace surround us as we handle the business of Surry County on this evening. We come asking for your guidance. We come asking for your wisdom and your support as we begin this Surry County Board of Supervisor meeting. This is our prayer. In Jesus' name, we do pray.
Amen. Amen. We thank Minister Brown for our invocation, and once again, we do thank the citizens and friends of Surry County for your presence on tonight. We do call this meeting to order, and we do so by first observing a moment of silence. Thank you. Might we stand now for the Pledge of Allegiance. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Board members, you have before you the agenda for our meeting on tonight. Are there any questions on the agenda? If there be no questions, Chair would entertain a motion for the adoption of the agenda for our August the 5th, 2021 meeting.
Mr. Chair, so moved.
Have a motion, can I have a second?
Second.
Been properly moved and second. All in favor, let it be known by the voting sign of aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. The agenda is adopted. The first item on our agenda is our consent items. And we do have before us on our consent items the approval of our draft minutes from our July the 1st meeting. And we also have the account payables in the amount of $709,500.19 for the month of August. Account payables in that amount. Are there any questions on the consent items? If there be no questions on the consent items, we would entertain a motion for the approval of our consent items.
Mr. Chairman, so moved.
Have a motion, can we have a second? It has been properly moved and second. All in favor, let it be known by the voting sign of aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The consent items have been accepted. Our first item on our new business tonight would be the budget amendment, emergency management grant. And we're going to ask now for staff to give us presentation on this item.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, and members of the public who are assembled this evening. You do have before you a request for a budget amendment for the Department of Emergency Management. Emergency Management did receive a grant in the amount of $24,804. The purpose of the grant is to purchase funds for the storage shed for the evacuation center supplies to be located at LP Jackson Middle School. The grant has been funded through the Emergency Management Performance Grant through the Virginia Department of Emergency Management. We're asking this evening for the board to accept the grant in this amount and appropriate the funds for spending and amending the budget fiscal year 21-22 to the Department of Emergency Management. This is a reimbursement grant in that the funds will have to be expended by the county up front, and once the funds get reimbursed, it will be no cost to the county.
Thank you, Ms. Rollins, for the information on the request for the amendment. Are there any questions from the board members in regard to the request for the Emergency Service Management Grant?
Mr. Chair, I just have one question. What's the, how long do we have to spend this $24,804 before we're reimbursed? Do we have a time frame?
I would ask Mr. Phelps if he can ask that question. Typically, they do come with a granting period.
Right.
Mr. Phelps?
Good evening, Chairman,
Good
board
evening.
members. I believe it's December 1st. I won't swear to it, but I believe it's December 1st.
For this year?
Yes, sir. Yeah. The thing that we're facing though is the building that we're buying, of course, is made out of wood. So every day we wait,
It goes up.
it goes up. It's,
Absolutely.
Thank you, sir.
Are there any other questions, board members? If there be no questions, the chair would entertain a motion in regards to the budget amendment for the emergency management grant.
Mr. Chair, so moved to approve this, budget amendment, please.
We have a motion to approve the budget amendment, emergency management grant. Could we have a second?
Second.
It has been properly moved and second. All in favor, let it be known by the voting sign of aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you, board members. Next item is Resolution 2021-16, Conservation Easement from Dominion Energy. I believe Mr. Harrison is going to come forth at this time to introduce information on the easement with Dominion Power.
Mr. Chair, before he makes the introduction, I just want to announce that I will be abstaining from voting on this resolution.
Yes, sir. We understand your position with your vocation. Thank you. Mr. Harrison.
Yes, sir. Chairman Elliott, members of the board, Mrs. Rawlins, Mr. Hefty, everyone assembled. Dominion Energy Services is requesting a deed of conservation easement for parcel 44-4B, consisting of approximately 391.23 acres of land off Hog Island Road in the Carbon Magisterial District of Surry County, Virginia. If approved, this easement would need to be granted by resolution of the Surry County Board of Supervisors, which you have before you tonight, Resolution 2021-16. And at this time, I would like to defer to Mr. J. Richard Collins from Dominion Energy to come and elaborate on the requested deed of easement. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for this opportunity. I just want to give you just a few details of the land conservation that will be put in place here. As Mr. Harrison has stated, it's on a property of 391 acres. It's 144 acres that would be put into conservation. Those areas are a mixture of wetlands and wooded areas that are that will stay in a very normal state and that would never be touched. That is part of our application with the DEQ, was to place this land in conservation as part of our permitting for our dredge management material area. Are there any questions you have of me that I can answer? It's pretty small stuff.
Board members, you have any questions?
Mr. Chairman, in placing this in easement, I was reading through some of the information. You're gonna have a trail. Is this gonna be accessible to Surry County citizens, or who's going to be able to enjoy this piece of property?
It's my understanding there will be no nature trail per se. There is a road that runs back there that has been there since the colonial times. That property is just to be left as is.
So there's no boat ramp being built or no nature trail being placed there?
No, ma'am.
So it's not gonna be public property, it's gonna be property that is owned by Virginia Power and is requesting for Surry to put it in an easement to preserve it from.
Any further development?
I'm looking at, thank you, Ms. Little. I'm looking at the resolution here, and it's stating that the county is entitled to enforce the restrictions imposed on the use of the easement property as stated in the deed. So if this is granted tonight, then the county will still be able to enforce some restrictions?
Yes, that's my understanding.
Thank you. Any other question, board members? If there be no other questions, the chair would entertain a motion on Resolution 2021-16, Conservation Easement for Dominion Power, Dominion Energy.
Mr. Chairman, based on what the conversation, I will move to, pass the resolution for the easement on the property.
We have a motion to approve the easement of the property requested by Dominion Energy. Is there a second?
Second.
It has been properly moved and second. All in favor, let it be known by the voting sign of aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And Mr. Chairman, for the purpose of the minutes, we are approving both the deed of easement and the resolution, correct, sir?
Correct.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rowland. Next on our agenda is our presentations. The first being from Virginia Gateway Region presentation on Regional Industrial Facility Authority. We have Mr. Jobber. Thank you, sir.
Good evening, Chairman, board members, Ms. Rollins, Mr. Harrison, and others assembled. Tonight we have Virginia's Gateway Region President CEO Keith Boswell to ask the Board of Supervisors in joining in a Regional Industrial Facility Authority. Surry County Economic Development has been working with VGR in this process and supports the creation of a RIFA. The purpose of a Regional Industrial Facility Authority is to enhance the economic base for member localities developing, owning, and operating one or more facilities on a cooperative basis involving its members. So I'm going to let Keith Boswell come up and give his presentation. If the Board of Supervisors approves legal fees to establish the Regional Industrial Facility Authority, the next step will be to hold a public hearing in which an ordinance would be created for the RIFA. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Jobbery. Madam Administrator, Mr. Chair, Board of Supervisors, thank you for letting me come in tonight and tell you a little bit about some of the things that we've been doing from a regional perspective. I've been encouraged not to go over every slide. You have a deck in front of you. Some of it can be do we have that, sir? Right here? I got you. Okay. It's pulling up. I do have a number of slides that we could go over, but really what I'd like to start off with is why in the world would you even consider doing this to begin with? I mean, what does it mean for Surry? What is it going to mean for Sussex and Prince George and Dinwiddie and all the other communities that are inside the Gateway region? In short, it's a tool. It's an economic development tool that you can use or not use. It's much like probably what you have done in the past, maybe with your neighbor. You might have said there might be a project that you want to do with, I'm making it up, Sussex County. And the legal teams get together and they say, okay, let's do this together. And this is for this one-off kind of project. And then after the project's over, it goes away, or you may decide not to do the project and you've kind of have all this activity that was for naught. This Regional Industrial Facilities Authority, or RIFA for short, is a way for communities to get together on projects. It doesn't necessarily have to be economic development projects, but it can be for any kind of project. Typically, the best use is for economic development projects because there could be some revenue sharing involved. So for example, if Surry had a piece of property and didn't have the money to develop it, but Sussex did, or quite frankly, Prince George or Hopewell, you could get together and figure out a mechanism to utilize the resources of all the people involved to see how you could move the project along. So that is really the purpose. I give you maybe even a little bit more pointed example. You got a brand new piece of property up on 460. Well, it's going to need some infrastructure to it. And right now, the Gateway region, VGR, is undertaking a water sewer study for the Sussex megasite. The Sussex megasite is right down the road. It's about 1,000 acres. Sussex has done a lot of good work along the way to get it to the spot of being highly visible in the economic development communities. A lot of companies are looking at it because it's big, it has rail, it has all the features. But what it doesn't have, and this is not a secret, it just doesn't have the ability to get volumes, like millions of gallons of water. It can get water there, and it can handle the wastewater. We're doing a study where we got a Go Virginia grant, but where is that water, if we could service that site, where's it gonna come from? Is it gonna come up from Suffolk, through Isle of Wight, going right through Surry to get to Sussex, or is it coming down the 460 corridor from Petersburg, going through Prince George to Sussex, and eventually it could benefit Surry? Or could it, theoretically, it could come from Hopewell? We just don't know. But the art of the possible is what the study is trying to figure out, how much it cost, what timelines, the process, getting the approvals and all that. The reason I tell you that example, because that could have been a project the study could have been a project that could have been under the RIFA. It would have actually been a better use of, the vehicle would have been a better use than going through VGR, for example. Having said that as an example, if the study says this is where the water comes from, whichever way, then a project is naturally, how can we get the water there? So a RIFA, the tool, could be where communities get together. They don't have to be contiguous, but it has to be within the RIFA organization to figure out where that water would come from and how you share in the cost and all that. So there's winners along the way. It's a tool so that people can get together to do things that they might not be able to do on their own. So that's really what a RIFA has as its positives and why Surry should consider it. And I should let you know that I'm going to have a conversation with the boards and councils of all of our member communities, which are 7. The next up on the list is Dinwiddie. We're going to do Colonial Heights and Prince George very quickly, and we're going to be on the councils of Petersburg and Hopewell as well. So that's why you might have a project that could fit into that. It's a little bit cumbersome. I could go through the slides. I just don't want to take up your time unless you feel like it's important. The slides are very quickly the enabling legislation, the purpose, again, the revenue sharing, the creation process. So we're at the very early, we're the talking stages here. We're not at the formality stages, but we are getting very close, assuming that you will agree. This is how to create it. We were thinking that it could be done very quickly. We already have the legal firm in hand. And by the way, I should let you know too, around Virginia, there's probably 15 maybe RIFAs in place, 2 counties minimum. The Eastern Virginia RIFA has got 10 members right now. So you can see that, and if you're involved, you don't necessarily have to participate on every project. You can bow out. And the involvement is a simple participation agreement. So the legal structure gets set up, and then individual members can go in at any point in time with just a simple participation agreement. So your legal fees go way down because you've already set up the legal structure. Again, a little bit of idea behind this would be the members of the Regional Industrial Facilities Authority. These members, these are all part of the Virginia Gateway region. Future expansion, it can be done, I understand, very easily. It's not a life sentence, for example. If you want to get out, you can get out very easily as well. So the governing board, 1 to 2 board members with some alternates, but I don't want to bore you with that right now. If you decide to go forward with it, it's a matter of figuring out what you actually want as a structure, and we can do that at a later date. Funding obligations, this is probably an important piece as well. Not asked to set up the RIFA. We've got an estimate back from the legal firm. It's about $13,000, something like that. We've divided it by 7, and that would be how to set it up. That's just the legal structure. It gets set up through the Commonwealth of Virginia, the Secretary of the Commonwealth, and then you have your tool. If you're going to be active in a RIFA, I don't want to pretend that it's not cost, because there are some costs. You have liability insurance that has to come in. I think the liability insurance through VML or VACO or something like that might be $2,000 to $4,000 a year. if you do a project, you're gonna have to have a audit at the end of the year. It's from a financial audit, so that's part of the deal. There is a expense on who's gonna run it. I will tell you from early on that VGR would be happy to bear that expense on behalf of the RIFA to get it started. So, again, the cost, $12,000 divided by, or $13,000 divided by 7, roughly $1,500. I have invoiced all 7 communities because I was encouraged to do so. You could decide not to or not, or to, but we are going to go and set up a RIFA for the Gateway region. The running of the RIFA, ideally, I understand that if you do a project that you ought to carve out just a little bit of the revenue that can go to a kind of an evergreen fund for the RIFA. That way it doesn't come out of your general fund. You can operate out of the funds, the proceeds, for example. That could be done as well. But there's many, many models on how to run it. But I don't want to bore you and get into the minutia unless you would like to. I don't profess to be an expert on the RIFA. This is about 6 or 8 months of learning without having actually done it. So we could bring in a legal expert to tell you all the legality, but quite frankly, I think we're early on that, and it may not even be necessary. Participation, I think we've talked about that. Probably the best way to look at it is that you can participate or not participate. That's probably the simple way. But the tool is the key. The tool is the key. Revenue share, and every deal is different. So it could be that somebody has 90% interest and 10%, or 95 and 5, or it could be equal with all their 7 partners if they decide to all go together. One of the things that I understand that is this last point here is that it really does away with the need for a referendum on every project that you do, because you've set up the tool to join, and by being participants, it really streamlines that process. So, for example, if we found out tomorrow that you have somebody interested in your new site along 460, and we got to get water there, and so we figured out if we had the RIFA as a tool, and for example, the existing infrastructure in Sussex would be adequate, or even Isle of Wight for that matter. Isle of Wight's technically not in the RIFA, so we'd have to figure out a new way to do that. But let's just use Sussex as an example. You could almost set up a project under that to figure out how to deliver that without going through public, all this other stuff, because you're doing it with inside the RIFA. Let's see, annual report, I told you about that. Termination, you can pretty much do it but just by a vote of the members. Some success stories around the state that might be helpful as you look at this deck a little later. Far Southwest Virginia set up a RIFA to redevelop some surface mines and created an industrial park so that they could have flat land. If you think about what's in Southwest Virginia, it's a lot of hills. And when they reclaim a mine, it gets flat. And so once you do the mine reclamation, then you have yourself an industrial park. I thought that was a pretty creative. One of the best RIFA groups in the Commonwealth, I would say, is the Danville, Pittsylvania County. They have done a tremendous job of leveraging their economic development opportunities and cost sharing, and created one of the other mega sites. There's 3,000-acre contiguous sites in Virginia. They're typically called mega sites by the Virginia Economic Development Partnership. Sussex has one. There's one down in Greenville County, and the other one's in Berry Hill. It's not to say that there's not any other big sites, but they're classified as the mega sites. But Southern Virginia has done a great job with using the RIFA. And of course, you know some of your neighbors to the east of us, the Eastern Virginia RIFA. They've set it up, and I don't know if they've run a project through it yet, but they've got it set up to do. So those are some success stories, and we can dive into that. Next steps, I would just say that I've checked with the attorney. The next step, after, if y'all want to go forward with it, you decide you want to be inside the RIFA, public notices, and all these legal documents will be developed with the 15, 16, whatever the number is, I can't remember exactly. Yodi, is it $1,600? We'll get all of this set up, so then all we have to do is come back and you just approve it. So public hearing, ordinances, and then the draft creating the RIFA, and then they'll do all of that back towards the state, make sure it's a legal entity, and then you have to vote on it. So that is sort of the next steps, and I know that was quick, and I hope it wasn't confusing more of it, but just to introduce the idea, and if you'd like to go forward, the invoices at hand. So I'll cease. Thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight.
Thank you, sir. Have one question. I know this is it's a startup. It's just getting started. Is this the first presentation you made on this, or have you made it to other counties?
Yes, sir. It is the very first presentation that we've made. Well, let me back up. Presentation made to either a board of supervisors or a city council.
Okay.
We have talked to the city managers and the county administrators absolutely first, and ran it by them to see if there was a good idea or not, and they suggested that we talk to the economic development professionals in their communities. So we decided, we went there and did that, and then we've had a recent meeting with we call them the managers meeting, which is the city managers and the county administrators. And that was just a week and a half ago. And one particular county administrator said that, Keith, how fast can you get it set up? Because we in the region, maybe us specifically, are thinking about going to the General Assembly, and the RIFA would be an excellent tool for us to collectively to go for the General Assembly. So how fast can you get it set up? So that has expedited. We never want to get out in front of the communities, and we haven't. We've always tried to figure out, let y'all drive, if you will. We're totally comfortable with the speed at which y'all want to work. We just think it's a good tool to have in the toolbox whenever you need it.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions from board members? Thank you. Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
I think this is an item, board members, that we can take up on our work session coming up, and we can get Mr. Jarber to come in and elaborate a little bit more, answer some of the questions that we may have. Thank you. Next presentation is Resolution 2021-17, Riverside Regional Hospital. We ask staff to present.
Yes. Yes, Mr. Chairman, you do have before you this evening Ms. Jessica Marcelino. She is the Associate Vice President for the Cardiovascular and Pulmonary Service Line with Riverside Regional Hospital. You do have before you a resolution to support the proposed hospital project that's in Isle of Wight County. And we will allow Ms. Jessica, who I've had the pleasure of meeting before, to give you a presentation tonight regarding the proposal. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rollins. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, and the public. My name is Jessica Macalino, and I am here on behalf of Riverside Health System to share with you some exciting news about a hospital that will serve the county residents of Surry, Isle of Wight County, and Smithfield. As Ms. Rollins said, I currently serve as the Associate Vice President of Cardiovascular and Pulmonary Services with Riverside, and I am also a Smithfield resident. As some of you may know, building a new hospital does require state approval through a process known as a Certificate of Public Need process. This is a somewhat lengthy process that requires multiple criteria be met in order to justify the need as well as to receive approval by the state. I am here today to share with you a little bit more detail about the hospital, but to also ask for your support as we navigate through the state approval process. This proposed hospital is part of Riverside's strategic plan to improve access to health care in the communities we serve. We have had a presence in Isle of Wight County for many years, and we have served members of this community since the inception of Riverside in 1915. We feel that given the population growth and the distance that many residents travel to receive health care, now is the time to build a hospital that would serve communities of Surry County and Isle of Wight County. Both counties are designated as medically underserved areas as well as healthcare provider shortage areas, which tend to have higher rates of diabetes, obesity, heart disease, addiction, untreated mental illness, as well as late-stage cancers. Riverside Health System meets the needs of communities in underserved areas by connecting citizens with specialized care. Our network has over 600 healthcare providers that span across multiple geographies. We have 4 acute care hospitals. We have nursing homes. We have a behavioral health center, and we also have wellness and rehab facilities. Riverside is also a not-for-profit health system with a mission to care for others as we would care for those we love. That mission has guided us through a long-standing history of providing charitable care programs and supporting free clinics in the communities we serve. This is essential to expanding access to health care for those who otherwise may not be able to afford it. Many residents currently benefit from these charitable care programs, and this hospital will allow for that to be closer to home for many residents. We also know that EMS and first responder teams travel a great distance to the closest emergency room. In meeting with local EMS representatives, we've heard that this distance has negatively impacted the lives of many residents. We also know how important it is for first responders to remain in the county to respond quickly to emergencies. With the closest hospital being over 45 minutes away, we know that's currently not happening today. This facility would cut travel time significantly. The hospital will be located in Isle of Wight, near the intersection of US 258, Virginia 10, and Virginia 32, also referred to as the Ben's Church area. This general acute care hospital will have 50 inpatient beds. Of those 50 beds, there will be 34 medical surgical beds, 10 intensive care unit beds, 6 obstetric beds, and 4 operating rooms. Services will include an emergency room, a labor and delivery unit with a level 1 neonatal nursery, diagnostic imaging services to include a fixed CT and a fixed MRI, a helipad for quick and easy transportation to a higher level of care if needed, and outpatient physician services directly located on the campus. The hospital represents an estimated $100 million investment and would bring several hundred jobs for clinical and support staff. If COVID has taught us anything, it is the value of being prepared. The pandemic has underscored the need to prepare and to address future healthcare needs, and this hospital will do just that. So I greatly appreciate your time this evening. Having the board adopt a resolution in support of Riverside's hospital would greatly help our application to the state. So I am happy to help answer any questions you may have about the project. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the board in regards to the resolution 2021-17? Any questions or comments?
I'm happy.
Great.
Happy to vote on this resolution. We've needed a hospital in this area closer than Hopewell or where we go now, Suffolk. So I welcome it.
Thank you.
So thank y'all for coming to Isle of Wight and gets us a little closer there, you know, to the services.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Any other questions, any concerns? If not, I think this is an easy one to pass. Board members, the chair would entertain a motion in regards to resolution 2021-17.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the board would pass resolution 2021-17.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, let it be known by the voting sign of aye.
Aye.
All in favor, let it be known by the voting sign of aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried.
Thank you all so much. I
Thank you
greatly
so much.
appreciate it.
Thank you. The next presentation for tonight is in regards to our broadband update from Prince George Electric Corporation from Mr. Casey Logan.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Yes, you do have before you Mr. Casey Logan, President and CEO of Prince George Electric Cooperative. And as stated, he will be here to present the board with a status update on the Surry County's important broadband project.
Yes, ma'am, and thank you, Chairman Elliott, Ms. Rollins, and member of the board. Glad to be here tonight to talk about our progress here in Surry County. We see the light at the end of the tunnel. Our goal is by the end of October, every resident in Surry County will have the option to take a high-speed fiber-to-the-home internet service to their home to meet their needs for school or TV, watching this Board of Supervisors meeting, church, telehealth, and things like that. So we're excited. Surry County will be one of the first in the state. I think there's a race going on right now in construction between Surry County and Bath County as far as who's going to get there first. There's a telephone cooperative in Bath County, Virginia, doing the same thing, and I can't say who's going to get there first, but Surry County is definitely going to be one of the first in the state of Virginia, if not, in all of the United States, especially to the fiber to the home technology, to have this available to their residences. So thank y'all again for the opportunity, for the partnership. And tonight I want to talk a little bit about the numbers of where we are in the county. Currently we have made internet available to approximately 2,441 homes. We have, out of those 2,400 homes, we have currently 735 connections with an additional 136 pending. That gives us a take rate of about 36%. That's up from a take rate of 18% of last year. So we're trending up in that, because we don't want to just offer this to the residents of Surry County. We want to actually give them the opportunity to take it. So the take rate has increased, and we're doing a better job of educating and letting the residents of Surry County know it's available. With that, by the end of this month, we're going to light up our Bacon's Castle area as far as the new connection. So Bacon's Castle will be energized and lit up. That'll be Colonial Trail East. I think Ms. Little might have a vested interest in that. And as well as by the end of the month, Dominion Energy will be finishing some of their splicing, so we will actually be able to go all the way up to the ferry off of 31 right there. So we'll be able to light that fiber up and start connecting homes up there near the ferry. So that's pretty exciting for us. We're working through it in a staged approach that we had planned out from day one, and the pieces are coming together. So if we look at it statistically, out of the 3,600 homes, we have 2,440 make it available to them right now. So that's roughly sitting us right at 66%. And we'll have those other homes available in the next 3 months.
Great.
Yes, ma'am.
Not so great. What about the Claremont area? What are the plans for Claremont?
It will be coming more toward the end of September into the October frame. Dominion, that is dependent on Dominion Energy's run that they have going up there. They're continuing. If the board remembers, there's about a 7-step process for this fiber optic project. Dominion has finished the construction side of their project. Now they're in what's called the splicing side. So they're actually connecting all those fibers, all those wires together, getting up there to the Claremont area.
Naturally, I'm a resident of Claremont, and I don't know if you can answer that right off the top of your head, but a portion of the town, the wiring has been ran, but it's another portion coming off of Cabin Point Road that stops at Flying Point Road, and from Flying Point Road into the town, nothing has been done. And I want to make sure that we can get some attention there.
Yes, sir.
But other question is, I know that we are operating now under a state grant that was matched by the county, but my understanding there was some federal money, a federal grant.
Yes, sir.
What are the plans for that? What are we doing with that for Surry County?
Okay, the federal funding comes in as what we determine at the co-op is our operating funds. So I can tell you the project costs thus far are over $5.5 million. Of course, the county and the state funding, as well as another $500,000 was put in by the co-op. That puts us right at, probably about half of the total expenditures. So those operating funds that we receive from the federal government, we're going to actually leverage them basically just through a loan, and then we will use those federal fundings to pay that loan off over that 10-year period of time. So we're using that for operating funds as well as leveraging capital dollars to help finish this project.
What is? I'm sorry. I know I have questions on this. I know you say that by the end of October, that it will be the opportunity for everyone to receive the high-speed broadband in the county. What is the time frame from having the opportunity as to when a citizen put in for the service as to when it can actually be connected to the home?
That's a great question. Right now, that's about 4 weeks. So when it's available to them, so if we look at it from a timeline standpoint, at the end of October, let's just say Halloween, right now we're running at about a 4-week turnaround, but that's trending lower as the year progresses, just because we're getting really good weather, so we're going to get in people's yards and get the construction done. But right now it's at about 4 weeks. Our goal is to have that down into the 3-week level by the end of the year. but right now it's at about 4 weeks.
So expound on that then, if I have down my road the fiber optic in the boxes, so are you saying 4 weeks from the end of that, I should have internet broadband at my house?
Okay, that's a good clarification. If what we have is an open zone, when we light the fiber up, think of it in the electric line terms. It means we put the electricity on the power lines out on the road. So when we light the fiber up on the road, we then send out an email blast. We put Facebook postings out to let the residents know that zone is now open. We'll accept applications. So once a zone is open and we accept those applications, it's about a 4-week turnaround.
But I thought we applied or let you all know that we wanted the broadband applied, like, I know we did months and months and months
Yes, sir.
ago.
You went ahead and pre-applied to let us know the interest rate of it. Yes, sir.
Yes.
And so that is, once the zone becomes open, if you're already in the system, then it's still about the 4-week turnaround, because we have to then go out and engineer it and meet with the homeowner to where we're going to run the fibers in the yard, make sure we're not hitting water, sewer, things like that, and then get it constructed and then get it installed.
So is it lit up from the ferry to the town of Surry?
No, sir, not right now.
No.
We're dependent on Dominion for that, and by the end of this month, they told us it will be spliced up and lit, so we can start doing the installs toward this ferry.
So then I have 4 weeks from that
Yes,
date.
sir. Yes, sir.
So I'm looking at the end of September, approximately.
Approximately, yes, sir.
You're doing good, sir. So, are there any other questions from board members?
I know, right?
Any other concerns?
No,
Yeah, Ms. Little, you happy too?
Yeah, I do. I got one more question.
Yes, sir.
For the residents out here, including myself, I've tried to find information out on the websites, whether it be Broadband or Prince George. It's not very user-friendly when we're looking at specific zones.
Yes, sir.
Is there a better way to find information as opposed to calling?
We try to make the website as user-friendly as we can and help it highlight the open zones. Mr. Calhoun, I'll take that back to see if there's anything we can do on our end to help clarify that and make it more prominent about when a zone's open and what zones are currently open.
Right, because I know when I tried to look at something, it was nothing out there. It just
Yes,
says
sir.
your application is pending or something. It doesn't tell me the status and things. That's what I was just asking.
Yes, sir. Thank you for that.
Yes, sir.
And Chairman Elliott, if it's okay with you, I'd like to make 2 more statements. To go along with the exciting news, knowing that Surry County will be one of the first counties in Virginia to be totally connected, or as the governor has said, universal connectivity. Tentatively, and I'm saying tentatively because I've gotten no more details other than save the date, so to speak, on August the 27th. That's a Friday. At approximately 11 a.m., I've heard from the governor's office he wants to come down to Surry County to do a press meeting to talk about and highlight what Surry County has done. And in addition to the August the 27th date, Rural Band will be having a community meeting, as long as, of course, COVID allows us. We'll follow any COVID protocols that might be at the time. On September the 21st, we'll have a community meeting right there at the community center in Surry. And at that same time, we want to have our grand opening of the Member Engagement Center for Surry County, to where if a resident wants to schedule an appointment with us, they can come in, we can show them the service. We'll have TV, laptop, tablets, things like that to help show value of the product for the residents of Surry County. So we'd like that, we're going to plan both of those events right there on September the 31st.
Thank you, sir.
21st.
21st, I apologize, 21st, yes ma'am. Yes ma'am.
If there are no other questions or concerns from the board, I'm hope you have Clement lit up by Thanksgiving.
Yes, sir, Mr. Elliott.
Christmas. You gotta order your presents.
That means that you'll have a gift of Rural Band by Christmas.
Yeah.
We hope so. Thank you, Mr.
Yes, sir, thank you all.
Yes.
Thank you.
Our next item on our agenda is an appointment for the EDA, potential appointment of Mr. Myron Wooden. Board members, you have before you a bio and a request. What would be the pleasure of the board? Are there any board members in position to make an appointment at this time?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Mr. Howard?
after reviewing the documents received, I would like to move that we appoint, Mr. Myron Wooden to the EDA. He has, an impeccable record and a distinguished, tenure of service in the areas of rural development, economic development, policy, budget, and finance, and I think that would be an added, benefit to our local EDA.
Thank you, Mr. Howell. Could we get a motion at this time from board members for the appointment of Mr. Myron Wooden to our EDA?
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Howell,
so moved.
do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Chairman, just to clarify, that's for an appointment ending in 2025.
Thank you, Mr. Hefty.
It's a
This is
four-year term.
Four-year appointment from August the 1st, 2021 through August the 1st, 2025. Motion is on the floor, has been seconded. All in favor, let it be known by the voting sign of aye.
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 Opposed? Motion is carried. We welcome Mr. Wooden on to the EDA. Look forward to great things. At this time, we will move to our county administrator's report.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to ask Mr. Yodi Jabri to come forth. He is going to give us a economic development update, and we're certainly looking forward to his report tonight. And while he's coming, I just want to comment, and I know Mr. Casey Logan just left, but just want to remind this board and the citizens of the county's award that we received from the Virginia Economic Development Association for our broadband project. So we remain excited about Prince George Electric Co-op even finishing in Claremont, Mr. Elliott. So we're very excited about that project. But Mr. Jabri, thank you, sir.
Good evening, Chairman, board members, Ms. Rollins, Mr. Harrison, and others assembled. Today I'll be giving you the Economic Development Report for Surry County. We have exciting news within my report. I'll go over my report, and then Ms. Pat Bernhousing, our tourism coordinator, will give you a tourism update. First off, I'm happy to report that the Governor Northam, last week announced that Surry County was one of the 15 localities to receive a Virginia Food Access Investment Grant. The total grant is $50,000 that will go to Surry Marketplace to further our grocery store project. This grant is from the newly created Food Access Investment Fund, which is through the Virginia Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services. The funds will go towards online ordering platform and delivery service, workforce development, in which in return will give our community better access to food. Next, within our comprehensive plan, one of economic development's goals is the revitalization of our downtown. We have been working on a project that will address the revitalization of our downtown, and I'm excited to announce that Surry County has a new owner of the old Anna's, located at 11487 Rolfe Highway, right here in the town of Surry. His name is Luis Pedraza, and he intends to revitalize the building and open up a Mexican restaurant. The anticipated capital investment is around $500,000 and the creation of 20 jobs. He is here tonight with us to introduce himself and say a few words. Let's welcome Mr. Luis Pedraza.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Luis Pedraza. I'm really excited about bringing a Mexican restaurant for all the people in Surry County and people that travel to this area. I'm the owner of Luca Italian Restaurant on Prince George and Morelia Mexican Restaurant on Prince George. We also have a Luca's Italian Restaurant on South Hill and a Three Guys Pizza Place on Franklin, Virginia. Been 11 years on business. I worked for the Italian place for 15 years. I'm really excited in bringing a nice family restaurant for everyone. And thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Could I say, I do thank you for taking interest in Surry County, and I want you to know that I've been to Lucas several times in Prince George, and you have excellent food, and I think the citizens of Surry will love that.
Thank you,
Yes.
thank you. You know, when I came to Prince George, I didn't know my business was gonna grow up a lot. They support us a lot, and I think we can do it here. Like on Prince George, I feel like my business belongs to the community, and I'm always there for them. So I want to bring it here, and hopefully we can make it grow up, and you can enjoy my restaurant.
Yes, sir.
Can I just ask, is there an expected opening date?
It's really hard. I'm already signing. I have an architect and a builder. It's gonna be hard. Hopefully, I would say after New Year. It's just really hard to get everything.
Right.
But we're already working on it. Today I signed some paper with the architect, and we had to do some demo. And I want to make it nice. And one thing that I learned, either I do it right or I don't do it.
That's
So I want to thank you, Jody, because I met him at Prince George, and he's been helping me a lot, and we're working together, and hopefully, you know, it'd be really nice. I think it will bring some people here. When I built Lucas, it brought a lot of people from Richmond anywhere. With COVID, we were there for everyone. We support everyone, and my restaurant will do the same thing here. And I think it would be nice for all the families, and I don't want people to come and get drunk, so it would be a nice family restaurant.
I believe so.
Yeah.
It's really
Yes,
nice.
it is, yeah. And I'm a fan of Five Guys in Franklin, so. Yeah.
Thank you, Louise. Moving on now. Economic Development will be hosting a job fair on September 22nd at 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at the Parks and Rec Community Center. Employers such as Walmart, Busch Gardens, Riverside Healthcare, and Randstad will be in attendance. We encourage employers and job seekers to reach out to us if you would like to attend. Our Surry County Farmers Market has been a tremendous success this season. We are averaging about 180 visitors, and we currently have 21 vendors. The Farmers Market is a great place for vendors in selling their products and having community engagement. We encourage citizens to come out and support our local vendors. This Friday, we'll be having a variety of vendors, food trucks, a bounce house, and musical performance. So please come out and enjoy. So now, Ms. Pat Bernhousing, our tourism coordinator, will come up and give us a tourism update, which she will show our very new and very first tourism video that includes one of our Surry County ambassadors. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Ms. Rollins, Mr. Hefty, good to see you again, Mr. Harrison, and those assembled here. Thank you for this opportunity. This is really exciting for us, but let me give you just a moment of background first. In November of 2020, Surry County received a $20,000 grant from Virginia Tourism Corporation's Recovery Marketing Leverage Program. It was designed to help local and regional tourism entities attract more visitors by leveraging limited local marketing dollars through a local match of the state grant funds. In our grant application, we indicated that the funds would be used to produce and market 2 or 3 short videos promoting the county as a road trip tourism destination from markets within and surrounding Virginia. As you can imagine, with COVID, travel and tourism industry has been very hard hit. But the trends that we're seeing are that people are comfortable now making some short trips, road trips in the family car, and typically looking for areas that they can go that are not heavily populated. So remarkably, during COVID, Surry became the thing that people were actually looking for. So These videos will be appearing on social media channels. They'll be targeted digital marketing platforms and possibly some television spots. So keep in mind, these are very brief 15-second and 30-second videos. So we have 3 to show you tonight.
Rural charm awaits you in Surry County, Virginia. Discover Surry's natural beauty, unique history, fine food and drink. Plan your road trip adventure today and savor the secrets of Surry County, Virginia. Rural charm awaits you in Surry County, Virginia. Ditch the crowds as you discover Surry's natural beauty, unique history, fine food and drink. Reconnect with nature, spark your creativity, and satisfy your sweet tooth. Sample world-famous smoked hams, locally grown peanuts, and delightful wines. Be entertained by gravity-defying antics on the world's tallest goat tower. Enjoy freshly prepared seafood on scenic Grays Creek. Plan your road trip adventure today and savor the secrets of Surry County, Virginia.
Very good.
Welcome to my hometown, Surry County, Virginia, and a place you will want to visit. Surry County is especially for lovers of art, lovers of history, lovers of food, and especially lovers of wine.
Plan your road trip adventure today and savor the secrets of Surry County, Virginia.
Hope to see you here soon.
As you can see, all 3 videos are somewhat similar, but different enough that they will appeal to different demographic groups on different social media channels. That was the purpose of producing more than one video. Additionally, I wanted to just mention quickly that we are working towards a kayaking event. I know that's something that the board has indicated that they wanted to see happen. So we do have a kayaking event planned for the weekend of September 11th and 12th down on Grays Creek. That will be a guided tour of Grays Creek, which will include historical interpretation, pointing out different wildlife and waterfowl that are that can be found there. And also on Saturday, which is September 11th, there will be a brief 9/11 remembrance service there. The good news is that we set this event up so that there would be limited number of people on the creek at any one time. So we have 4 ticketed excursions, 2 on Saturday and 2 on Sunday. We limited each excursion to 25 participants, and I can tell you right now that out of the 100 tickets, it was a free ticketed event. Out of the 100 tickets, 98 of them have been reserved.
Wow.
And then the last thing I wanted to mention just briefly is that Virginia Tourism Corporation debuted a program called Drive 2.0, which is a state and regional strategic plan for tourism, which they debuted in December of 2020. Its implementation began in January of 2021. The plan will build on the existing findings and conclusions from their 2013 statewide tourism plan. The strategic plan is a result of conversations with Virginia's tourism industry and tourism partners, and it focuses on answering really 2 key questions. One is, what should we be promoting? And 2, what should we be building? After a competitive review process, excuse me, staff was notified this week that Virginia Tourism Corporation has selected Surry County's application to participate in Drive 2.0. During the implementation process, community stakeholders, government and business leaders will be surveyed, and Virginia Tourism Corporation will facilitate meetings to guide us in determining a specific project. And at the end, once the project has been determined, they will provide funding in the amount of $10,000 for that project. Projects may be focused on product development, promotion, or advocacy based on the needs assessment and the input from the community. So, does anybody have any questions about any of this exciting news?
No question from me. We're just pleased that we got a lot of positive things happening from economic development and from your office as well. So thank you for a job well done.
Thank
Just
you.
comment.
I can tell you, I don't think I've ever been busier.
That is great.
That's a good thing.
Thank you very much.
Yes, it is.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Pat.
Yes, so, you know, what I have to say is nowhere near exciting as all of that great news. We've gotten broadband and emergency services grant and $50,000 for our food access initiative. And the only thing that I would add about that, Mr. Chairman and board members, is that we are so pleased again. If you all remember, some of you, it was approximately about 4 years ago, I think Mr. Harrison and I, when we had worked hard to advocate at the state for the Virginia Grocery Investment Fund. And this is a spinoff, right, Mr. Jabari, of that. So we are very glad that our efforts through economic development and building those relationships at the regional and the state level has really worked to help bring these grant funds to Surry County. So we are very thankful for our staff who have worked very diligently on all these efforts. So we are very excited. That tourism video, I'm sure, warmed everybody's heart. Sorry for my little blunder there where I was going, but I was bubbling with excitement because it does speak volumes to what it is that we're trying to do in Surry County to engage our citizens to make this a better and brighter place, quality of life for our citizens. So we, again, very exciting news to share this evening. The kayaking event, the restaurant coming to Surry County, obviously is great news. So we, again, very excited about that. So I guess the next thing I guess we can talk about that was very exciting was the event that we had on this past Tuesday with our National Night Out. And again, that was the perfect opportunity to once again to show unity in this community, because we do have it, Mr. Calhoun. And we are very excited about the opportunity to be able to support that event with Chef Turner, and I think he's here tonight. And I'm going to give a few minutes for him to come out and talk about National Night Out and share a few comments to the citizens who came out to support that event as well. Chef Turner, are you here? Yeah.
Thank you, Ms. Rawlins, Chairman Elliott, Ms. Rawlins, Mr. Hairston, board members. Truly, we had a phenomenal event on Tuesday. And if you can't tell, I lost my voice. I've been dealing with that for the last couple of days. But we had a phenomenal time on Tuesday with National Night Out. We had close to 60 participants from just about the majority of our county staff and our departments and offices here in the county represented, and amongst all other community organizations that came out. It was tremendously I would say the biggest event, and I think the best one we have had this far. And I take some of it away when you look at the COVID, because I think the COVID still held back some folks. I got some calls, and some people said they really wanted to come, but they were still a little hesitant. But we estimated around about 350 to 400 people who came out to the event on Tuesday. And like I said, I can't say enough how excited I am. And like I say, the calls and the texts and things that I received, the excitement of the people who came. Like I said, we had a number of organizations who gave out book bags. Kids can't say they don't have school supplies. So it was a number of different organizations who were giving out book bags to our students here in Surry County. And like I said, we had about 59 total organizations represented. We had a lot of different organizations who actually donated to our National Night Out, and we had a lot of organizations who actually sent volunteers out to assist us, to help us with that thing. So, like I said, it takes that unity. It takes collaboration with other partners to help make this event such as this come to pass. And like I said, I thank Ms. Rawlins and county administration, because like I said, partnering to make this thing happen. It's not a sheriff's office. And I told when we had a meeting in regards to it, I said it's not the sheriff's office event. It's a Surry County event. It's for our community. It's to bring our community together, to show what we have to offer, to show that we're working in this thing together to get the mission at hand completed. So thank you again. Thank the board. Thank you, Ms. Rawlins, and thank the citizens. I think I see one of those shirts right there, that Unity in the Community, that National Night Out shirt. I see people adorning. We had people call us and said, "Can I get a shirt?" And I said, we'll see what we can do. But come next year, we'll see if we can get you a shirt. But thank you.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Sheriff Turner. And just the next few things, board members, just a few updates. A public hearing will convene on August the 24th at 6 o'clock. And the purpose of this public hearing is for the Wetlands Board to convene in regards to the floating dock at the property's edge on Lawrence Creek that is relating to the Virginia power request that we received. So the Wetland Board will convene on August the 24th. You all probably saw the news today whereby Governor Northam has issued Executive Order 18 requiring at least state employees to show proof of vaccinations by September the 1st. Already, our emails have started to roll in as to whether or not locality is going to follow suit. So this is something that we'll be bringing back to, of course, to our employees and provide that guidance as far as what we need to do to have our employees show proof of vaccination if that's what we are going to elect to do to follow suit with the governor. On Wednesday, October the 11th, the Surry Health Department will be offering vaccinations to the citizens from 8:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. That is the Surry Health Department, J&J, Moderna, and Pfizer vaccines. And if I saw that correctly, Mr. Phelps, if you correct me if I'm wrong, also on that same day from 12 to 1:30 at the Surry Fire. The EOC building, okay, at the EOC building from 12 to 1:30 p.m. Okay. And we'll be testing on that day, actually testing on August 11th from 12 p.m. to 1:30 p.m. And Mr. Chairman, all the reports have been given, so that concludes my report this evening.
Thank you, Ms. Rawlins. At this time, we will open up our meeting for public comments. If you are present and you would like to give a public comment, we ask that you would come forth, state your name and the district in which you live, and we will entertain you for 3 minutes. Any public comments at this time?
Chairman Elliott, Mrs. Rawlins, I'm going to try and say something positive for a change. I heard every word the sheriff said. I heard every word the CEO of French George Electric said. I'm hearing impaired with my hearing aids turned all the way up. If you're standing 2 to 3 feet from a mic or whispering, it's just like you're not talking at all. So please ask the participants when they come up to stand, maybe 10 inches from a mic, because when you step back like here, it's almost impossible to hear what they're saying. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. There.
Chairman Elliott, board members, my name is Susan Corbella from Spring Grove.
He can't hear you.
Sorry, I thought I had a voice that travels. Is that better? Good. I do want to say great job on the National Night Out. I did go photobombed a picture for Sheriff Turner. I'm here in reference to some information that was done at the last meeting in reference to the seniors program. After listening to the discussions last month and hearing the seniors state that they were not aware or had any notification of the move to Dendron, my question I would like to inquire on is, when will the Surry Recreation Center be back available to the centers where they felt comfortable in? And in turn, when will the Dendron Community Center be back open to the community? Since there was so much information that was not known, is this a permanent move or a temporary move for them to go to Dendron? The reasoning that was given that I recall was because of COVID as to why they moved to Dendron. But what I don't understand is why you would move from a large room to a smaller confined room if your reasoning was COVID. Then on another note, I'm super excited, hopefully, for this grocery store. I went to the Chamber of Commerce meeting where Mr. White addressed the citizens on the opening of the store, and he gave an opening in about 3 to 4 months. In a prior Board of Supervisors meeting, it was asked to have another breakdown updated since COVID delayed the process, where you broke down, at one point you had broke down the timeline of when and what the grant money was being used for. X amount was used to fix the window, X amount was used to do the roofing, X amount was used to do the parking lot. Windows still busted on the front, so my request is there going to be an updated information on a timeline and where this grant money is being spent, seeing as though we're still getting grant money for this grocery store, but we're not seeing a lot of movement at that grocery store being done. And if we're looking at 2 to 3 months for a possible opening, there's a lot that needs to be done at that store, and I think the citizens need a new update as to when and how this money is being spent. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Crivello. Are there any other public comments? If not, Mr. Calhoun, I know you have
Yes,
one to present.
Diane Cheek from the Surry District was not able to attend the meeting this evening. She's out of town and does not have access to computer for, I guess, we're not using the internet. No, okay. So she sent me the, her information and asked me to read it. On July the 5th, 2018, the Board of Supervisors adopted a resolution for the county to pursue a VDOT Smart Scale grant to provide bicycle and pedestrian accommodations along Rolfe Highway, State Route 31, from Jamestown, Scotland Ferry to the town of Surry, in accord with the Surry County Comprehensive Bicycle and Pedestrian Plan. The resulting grant is a plan to add 5-foot shoulders on both sides of the road, which is not in accordance with the Surry County Comprehensive Bicycle and Pedestrian Plan. The Board of Supervisors held a work session on February the 6th, 2020, where a presentation was made recommending a feasibility review be performed by a collaborative work team to identify the feasibility of expanding the already funded Smart Scale Road Widening Initiative to include the county's defined separate multi-use trail for this section of Route 31. The proposed team was to include Chairman, Surry County's Economic Development Director, and in coordination with the Planning Director. Team members include VDOT, Dominion Energy, Department of Conservation and Recreation, Preservation Virginia, and the Tidewater Trails Alliance East Coast Greenway Alliance, and 3 citizens of the county. Due to the closure of the government offices from COVID, this activity has not been acted on. What steps can be taken to act on this recommendation? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Calhoun, for representing a constituent in your district, Ms. Cheek. Are there any other public comments at this time? If there be no other public comments, we do open up the meeting for comments from board members. We'll start in the place of honor with Ms. Little.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have no comments. I just would say that all that has been shared with us this evening has been very exciting. We're always looking for money, and so I'm so happy, and restaurants, and so I think we've had a very aggressive and very enriching tourism. I love the videos, beautiful. Still, looking forward to Surry's progression. Thank y'all, staff.
Thank you, Ms. Little. Mr. Calhoun?
I'd just kind of like to say the same accolades from Mrs. Little. I see a positive move in towards this meeting, the new restaurant, the grants, the night out, and just all the great things that have been on the agenda. I applaud county staff and admin for their participation, Sheriff Turner, and thank everybody for the jobs.
Thank you, Mr. Calhoun. I would like to ditto my fellow board members and accolades for all the departments and the work in which you have put in to make Surry a better place. I thank you for the heart in which you put it in place to show that you really care about Surry County. And I do come tonight with a announcement. I would like to announce that as of this past Tuesday, Mr. Howell, our newest member of our Board of Supervisors, is officially Dr. Howell. He received his doctorate degree. And I don't want to give you the wrong title of what he received his degree in, so I will let him inform you of he's a doctor of what.
Thank you, Chairman Elliott, members of the board, and to the community. Yes, it has been a long 2.5 years, but it has been rewarding that on Tuesday I did receive my doctorate in education with the emphasis in agriculture education and community leadership.
Amen. We do salute you for that achievement. Ms. Little, Ms. Rollins has one more communication that she would like to relate to the board and the citizens at this time. Ms. Rollins.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for the opportunity to do this. And just in light of the conversations both tonight and previously, I did have this on my plate, Mr. Chairman, and board members to share. Sometimes you can read the room and make a determination of whether or not it's the proper timing to share communication, but I think it's fitting that I do this on this evening. And this is regarding to the relocation of the Surry Senior Citizen Program to the Dendron site. So I just wanted to share this communication with, I've already shared it with you, the board members, but I will share it with the citizens this evening. In light of the recent concerns expressed with the Surry County senior citizens, who we have some in our audience tonight, moving from Surry County Parks and Recreation to the Dendron Community Center, it is my desire to address these concerns and to provide clarity. The intent of subsequent communication is for the seniors impacted by the relocation, the Dendron citizens who shared opinions on the use of the Dendron Community Center, and all others who may have an interest in this matter can be aware of how and why certain decisions were derived. I have listened to the citizens, we have listened to the citizens and the seniors, and have received comments from elected officials also. The concern seems to be threefold. The seniors, according to some, feel that they were not informed as to the reasons for the move. The citizens in Dendron feel like the facility was taken away from them without input. And third, the posture that some of the seniors desire to move back to Surry Parks and Recreation, although there has been some communication that they are comfortable, but just the same, that was brought up, so I want to share that. The objective of this administration, of course, is to lead the county in a manner that will reflect our responsibility and responsiveness to the needs of the entire community, and to assist the board in achieving goals for moving the county forward as we address present needs and plan for the future. I believe that we collectively understand that this cannot be accomplished without the help and participation of the community in which we serve. It has been consistently a goal to create wins for this community and provide our elected officials with a platform of excellence to share and engage with our citizens and stakeholders. While conflict, challenges, and the complexities of local government are inevitable, I remain confident that by working together, we can continue to make these positive differences for Surry County. Board members, community, having grown up in this community and in the town of Dendron, where I attended church, I am invested and passionate about making differences in the quality of life of all who live and work here. Through teamwork and collaboration that has been talked about tonight, and with the support of the board and citizens, in the midst of challenging times, we have made tremendous progress in the past 18 months during the most challenging times that many of us have experienced. Turn the corners of the pandemic. During the middle of May, the county received a request from the Director of Social Services to utilize the pavilion as a temporary meeting location for the Surry County seniors after being advised that some were meeting in the parking lot as a result of being disengaged since the onset of the pandemic. The request was honored as a safe, covered, and temporary space for 2 to 3 times a week, 2 hours per meeting. At this time, mask updates had not been lifted. Social distance and other safety guidelines, including outdoor gatherings, were being followed. Soon afterwards, county administration received calls from members of the board as to the seniors being located outdoors. Recognizing that pavilion was a temporary location and to address concerns from both elected officials and citizens, our facility management team very quickly responded to provide a safe and personable space for our seniors to congregate. That was the Dendron location. Prior to the pandemic, yes, the Surry citizens met at Parks and Recreation building in the gymnasium. The pandemic, citizens and board members have forced local governments to think creatively and strategically about functionality, space, county programs, and operations. As a 15-month shutdown resulting from the pandemic, staff discussions ensued around pent-up demands for recreation and health and how Parks and Recreation's facilities can be better suited for robust programs and activities for youth, adults, and seniors post-pandemic. To this extent, county administration was requested by Parks and Recreation Commission members to assist in getting youth summer and other programs inside the community center. We also received requests for adult fitness classes. The exercise equipment annex that's located there could be more open with additional hours. We were also notified, as you all heard this evening, by Prince George Electric Cooperative that the Broadband Education Center could soon be started. All of this meant expanded utilization, more foot traffic, and less than a desirable space for our vulnerable population, all vaccinated and still in precautionary COVID-19 mode. Further, there were concerns with the HVA and ventilation system in the gym slated to be addressed. Collectively, the decision to move the seniors to the Dendron Community Center was done with only the safety of our seniors in mind, along with the aforementioned factors. At that time, it just seemed like the right thing to do without any knowledge of any competing uses or adverse reactions while turning the corners of a pandemic. Communicating proposed relocation to elected officials, administration advised and sought input from elected officials as to the proposed new space for the senior program and potential plans for other proposed office relocations. We forwarded that update to you all on June 10th when the move took place. Citizens requested the use of the Dendron Community Center. When the county received a request on June 21st to use the Dendron site for a meeting of about 8 persons, this was the first request since the seniors relocated to that new space. For all intended purposes, to have the seniors in a separate space while not completely out of the pandemic, aware of a COVID variant, administration advised that the Dendron site just could not be used as a shared space at that time, and we offered another community facility as a suggestion, the Surry Parks and Recreation Center. We also made inquiry to the town of Dendron only to provide a solution for that meeting where citizens would be allowed to use the town hall. Contact was made again to provide assistance with an immediate response and a proposed solution on that particular day. Other than expectation that the alternative location would be the best since the seniors were occupying the Dendron site, it was certainly not at the forefront of the decision-making process that something would be taken away from anyone. Previously, the building was available for citizens to access for programs and for renting for small events. It has not been used since the pandemic for that purpose. During the July meeting of the Board of Supervisors, the Director of Social Services presented an overview of the senior program, gave some history of it, and provided additional insight as to why seniors met under the pavilion and how the Dendron facility was serving the needs from a safety, wellness, and accessibility perspective. At that same meeting, a representative from Dendron spoke during citizen time about the seniors being relocated from Surry Parks and Recreation to the Dendron location and shared these concerns with the board on the behalf of the seniors as we understood it. Comments were provided by Parks and Recreation staff on the proposed plans for the community center gymnasium during the day. The county administrator, myself, provide surety that the seniors were not kicked out of the Surry site as posited by citizens, and perhaps the seniors in the program, and reiterated the various reasons for making the decision to relocate. I'm almost done. Post-July meeting, to better assure the board and the community that community engagement is mission-driven, a brief synopsis of community engagement, gathering elected input, and information sharing. I have several initiatives that I will not read this evening that shows that we are looking for the best interests of the entire community when we are making these decisions as the best we can during these times. And I won't read those initiatives, but they are listed. Various number of initiatives are listed here. I can emphatically share that outside of Surry County, that we are being viewed by the programs and the opportunities that we are affording our citizens in this community. This program operates under the direction of Social Services, who has a Social Services Board. If this pandemic has taught us anything, we have learned that nothing is ever engraved in stone, and pivoting in new directions is always warranted. We were at a very different space last year this time, and we, like other communities, are dealing with the ramifications of citizens desiring to get back to some normalcy post-pandemic. We can hope that we do not return to last year, as the COVID variant is at the forefront of recent news. The Surry County Parks and Recreation Commission has also discussed this matter, and dialogue from this group may continue to prove beneficial in the discussion of future planning for countywide programs and activities for not just these seniors, but other seniors in the community who did not participate in the current program. According to Social Services, we have 62 seniors who are enrolled in the services, with about 20 or 25 in regular attendance. And in closing, I do regret, Mr. Chairman, board members, Dendron citizens, that you feel something was taken away from them, and understand how perhaps some of our most vulnerable residents may have heartburn about this matter and may be more difficult for elderly to make adjustments. But I'm very optimistic that we can learn and grow from this experience. We will continue to work with this great team of employees to create wins that can be shared by your protective districts, board members, and the county at large. And we'll also be willing to assist to answer any questions that your citizens may ask of you as pertains to this matter and any other matter that may come to your attention. So thank you, board members, for allowing me the opportunity to read that. It is something that I know had been on our mind to share, and since the subject matter did come up this evening, I thought it was an opportunity to be able to share that with the citizens. So thank you, and thank you all for listening. I know it was pretty lengthy, but thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rollins, and we hope that this will give some clarity as to why some of the decisions were made. The board was informed, and our whole intention was the safety of our seniors in the county. And based upon the report tonight from Ms. Rollins, we hope that we can move forward from this position that have caused us some disturbance within the county. So thank you, Ms. Rollins.
My pleasure.
Also, we do have a request from our board member, Mr. Drury, in his absence tonight, is to regards of a grant that was denied at a particular time from the winery, for the winery during our COVID relief. And this is a matter that we will bring up at our work session as well, so that we can move forward and get some input from our elected officials to handle this matter. So that will come up. Also, we look forward to having Mr. Jarbry at our work session. Get back to my agenda. We do have matters for informational purposes. Oh, excuse me, we do have our investment letter. Board members, you have a copy of your investment letter within your packet for our presentations on tonight. And everything else is for our information. The sheriff has given us a report on National Night Out, VDOT payment schedule, AARP Senior Community Service Employment Program, Creator Health District release news. We have a governor's press release, food bank volunteer opportunity in the county, and we have the Creator Health District press relief, back to school immunization encouraged, and we do have information from the farmers market that's coming up. Mr. Phelps, do you have a report from emergency services that you'd like to give tonight?
Just give you a brief report on COVID and the changes.
It has to be exciting.
Yeah. You pulled me up last after all this. All right. So we're getting through this. There we go. We do have some changes coming. You're watching the news and social media and different things along those lines. So there's a lot of changes developing every day. So we're staying on top of those. We have some working with the school system now to prepare for vaccinations for the children before school starts. So we're trying to get some numbers from them now on how many students we have left to vaccinate. So our goal is to get as many of those vaccinated before school starts as we can. So like I said, so just stand by. There's going to be some changes coming within the county, and we're just watching what the state and the CDC recommends. And our rate of spread is I think it's fairly well. We're at 3.17%. I hate to have spread, but we're still very low, which is good. Kudos to everyone for continuing to wash your hands and hand sanitizer and wear masks when you feel that you're in a space where it's tight. And we hope those that haven't been vaccinated will get vaccinated. So.
Thank you, Mr. Phelps. That was exciting. We're trying to get our kids vaccinated before school opens up.
Yeah, that's
exciting.
Board members, if there are no other items before us tonight, the chair would entertain a motion for adjournment until August the 19th at 6 o'clock p.m. for our work session.
So moved to adjourn.
It's been properly moved and second. All in favor, let it be known by the voting sign of aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. You guys be safe out there. COVID is still here. Be safe.